All right, let's go ahead and get with this particular pen. This is, as I said last time, is a Majestic. It's pretty simple. It's kind of got this cool striped celluloid, very simple clip, and a little kind of geometric cap band here that actually, well, it's in place, but it rotates. But let's see if we can get this guy apart, and he looks pretty good. So I think, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I look at the loop and I see things under magnification, I might just conservatively polish him, get it back together, and do the writing sample. So let's go ahead and dig into it and zoom in for a second, just kind of show you what I see. Here's how I know it's a Majestic, right there on the clip. Simple, bolted in. Here's that cap band, that little alternating triangles and rectangles, kind of very geometric, kind of Art Deco, but it does rotate, but otherwise it's solid, it's not coming off, so that's nice. Nice little, this is also how when I see things and like on eBay or whatever, and it's like a bunch of fountain pens all kind of laid in a row and I can't see anything particular, I tend to feel that when I see just these rectangular, oblong, almost seemingly just stamped out levers, that's how I know they're probably going to be like a second tier, third tier pen. So, you know, just be careful what you're getting when you just see a little rectangular lever. There are exceptions. I believe there's maybe I think I've seen a maybe Todd or two that look just rectangular and have fooled me a little bit, but just something to think about. And on this, there's no imprint, but there is a personalization. This used to be Harry Slater's pen. So I'm going to Google it just to see what pops up with Harry Slater, but I doubt I'll get anything specific. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. Take a look at what we have here. This is a nice warranted nib, so we got lucky, and this is probably a higher tier pen for this third tier pen manufacturer. We got a nice little gold nib, warranted. I'll double check myself, but when I think when warranted, it's 14 karat gold. I think that's what warranted means, and I'll double check what that implies. But we have this in a little step ladder or just combed feed, and we have what looks like a good ink view. But when we take it out, which is simple in this one, we see that this is going to be a clear plastic section with a black painted tip, so that's what gives you your ink view. We have a little bit of sack residue left over on the nipple. We don't have any kind of breather tube in there. And let's go ahead and do some manual labor, and then we'll get this knocked out. So let me find a hole in my knockout block. Let's see if the medium, nope, that's a little too tight. Sometimes if it fits in there, it's like, oh, it does, it fits snugly in there. And that often just honestly scares me, because I don't want to be knocking this, having like just a little bit off kind of a vector for my force, and winding up like cracking or messing up something like the nipple. So what I do when I feel that, even though it's perfect, I get a little bit scared and I step down to my small one. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's actually safer to have the medium snugly in there, but I don't know. I think I've been scarred by a mess up back in the day, so I just step it down, and then I just kind of do small whacks, and this one just popped right out. So not bad. We have just the simple, let's go back in. We have our simple feed, no room for a breather tube, and we have our nib, which is a decent sized nib actually. It says warranted 14K USA, and I do my little checks. There's no cracks at the breather hole. There's no cracks where the section meets the nib, and there's no cracks back here where they tend to punch out, and sometimes you'll get a little split developing at the back and moving its way forward. So I've got nothing here, so everything looks great. And then the only thing left to do is decide, do we dig in here to see what kind of J-bar we have? Because I guarantee you with a 3rd tier pen, it's going to be a J-bar. And because this is a service for the people, and I also just like to know, I'm going to dig in and see. So I'm going to take the lever, move it up a little bit to push down the J, presumably a J-bar, and look down the barrel, grip it. Let's see if I can come back out for you guys, and do my little twisty rock back as I pull. And this one's coming pretty easily, actually. I'm going to readjust, go with it. I'm going to go and grab with my fingers and just continue the process. And lo and behold, we have the classic kind of 3rd tier cheap little J-bar. I'm going to press a little bit. It still is pretty tight. I'm going to say this one's reusable. So it's got that kind of brass color. So it might be brass. Probably is. And it's, you know, caked with some junk. So I'll clean that off and we're going to reuse that. So with just a few easy steps, get everything taken apart. And honestly, this thing looks great. I'll take the loop, see if there's anything I need to worry about, but I think this will be a faster video for me. Oops, sorry, I had no idea where I was. I'm gonna just use my polishes, my Novus polish, my step 2, step 3. I will do my Simichrome polish, and what's left of my, well, maybe I won't, because apparently Anderson Pens, a website that I've loved to get stuff from and have mentioned several times, is now no longer in service. So the little Anderson Pens micro polish I have is all that I have. And until I find another type of micro polish that I want to try, I might just reserve my micro polish for something a little higher tier, or something that I restore and I put up on eBay just to kind of give it that extra little pop. So I think I'll go through my Simichrome and come back. We'll put it together, do a writing sample, and I'll see if I can dig through some of my, I don't have any that I know of in my collection right now. I might just have to look, but I probably have a Majestic or two in my, junk pen box that I just kind of pull through and see what I want to restore. So I'll dig around to see if I can find one, and at the end we can just compare some models as we talk about it, because I don't think there's going to be a lot to say about Majestics. I bet it's one of those lower tier pens that just don't have information out there. So we'll get it back together. We'll do a writing sample and we'll talk a little bit about what we can. So I hope this will be a shorter video, and I will see you hopefully very shortly as I get this thing cleaned up. All right, that was a quick one. This one polished up really well, and I'll just kind of get everything put back together, and I'll show the final show off at the end with the writing sample. But hopefully you can see that everything looks pretty shiny, pretty good. Not that it looks bad to begin with, but I'll say the most junked up part was this little area, and it came out quite clean. It's a little bit of schmutz still in these little ribbed parts here on the nipple, but overall pretty good. And I might as well show you now, and I think I said in the last one that I believe, like a lot of cheap pens, this is probably a clear section with a painting on it to kind of make part of it black and the rest clear. Actually, when I cleaned it up, this is actually two pieces, and if you look at it on end, you might be able to see a lip of black, then some clear. So this is a little black collar over this clear section piece. So a little bit better, I think, overall. It's not going to degrade over time in terms of like lose the black and see through. So I think for a third tier pen, a little bit better design and a little bit of a surprise for me. So good on you, Majestic. But let's go ahead and put everything together. I think, did I have everything even shellac? Yes. So this is going to take a size 17 sack, which I kind of already pre-cut down to save some time. So let's go ahead and go through and do a few things to get to the writing sample. So I'll take my little Alligator pliers or forceps, whatever you want to call them. We're going to do our thing where we line it up. Oh, and this did shine up quite nicely with just a little bit of polish, so it cleaned up really well. I'm going to push you all the way back. And double check inside just to see that it's lined up and pushing on the center of that bar. And it looks like it is. Sweet. Let's go ahead and do the nib feet section. And goes in there just like so. Gotta give it a good little solid push. It looks like there is there. I'm gonna just feel for a little lip because it felt like it only went down. Yeah, there's a little bit of a lip in there, so this might be a self-seating situation where it'll only go down so far. So I'm going to trust that for now, and we'll see how it writes. But let's see the overlap and get you in. It seems to seat pretty well. Put some pressure. It's not lifting up. It looks flat on the nib section, on the feed part. So looks like it's a nice tight seal. I guess I'll go with that. Let's go ahead and shellac the sack in place. Okay. Slide you on. 17 should be a decent fit for this one. Here we go. I'm going to slide you down. Pretty good. A little twist with my fingers all around. Get a little bit off of the slip-in part. And talc. And if you wind up getting some on your fingers and transferring it to something on the pen, I found, I think I mentioned in another video, a little bit of rubbing alcohol will take this off. Will take the shellac off. Because, I mean, it is a kind of a waxy substance dissolved in denatured alcohol, so rubbing alcohol works just as well. We're going to line you up and slip you in. Nice and clean. Yeah, that looks nice. So I'll let the shellac dry. I'll come back when I'm just about ready, double check the nib alignment, and we'll see how this guy writes, and I'll show you a little bit more up close with the writing sample. So we'll probably see you probably later today, actually. I'm just kind of getting stuff done, so see you in a couple hours. And welcome. We have everything just kind of set. The sack is ready to be filled, and we can show off this beautiful Majestic pen. Let's just go ahead and show it real quick. I think I saw from my writings, I saw another pen like this with some gold trim instead. That this is like a tortoise shell, a gray tortoise shell color. So that's what we'll call it. But you can see that it shined up really well. And all I did, if you recall, well, at least what I said I would do, is all this is plastic polish. It looked really good. I didn't want to just waste any micro mesh on it. And this, whoever was this, Harry Slater right there, took good care of this pen, or maybe forgot it in a drawer. Who knows, but this is in really good condition. So there we have our Majestic clip. Let's go a little bit closer maybe. Yeah, just right there, Majestic. This fairly simple clip, bolted in. I think that's the right term. I always say these are bolted in, but they're crimped in. We have this nice round top. We have this kind of cool geometric band. There we go, there's the up and down. It has just triangles, some bars, so it's kind of Art Deco, which is very geometric Art Deco, I'll go ahead and call it. And with the chrome silver, that kind of silver look, that's definitely Deco in my mind. We have this lever, which has a little bit of goldish, so it's probably brass with some chrome plating or whatever this may be, and that's just kind of showing through at this point. I hope you see the yellow that I see. And let's go ahead and show, I believe this is a warranted nib maybe. Let's bring you up, let's focus. Yeah, just a warranted 14K USA. And there we go, little ladder feed. A little clear, and I kind of described the section earlier that this is a black sleeve over a clear section, and that's about it, other than Harry Slater. We have no imprint on the barrel, so the best we have is what's up here on the clip. So let's go ahead and zoom out and pull up the pad, pull out my favorite, my diamine ancient copper, the one I've just been using incessantly on these videos now. And we'll do a little fill. See if I can hold it to the mic. Yeah. We get a little bit of some bubbles. Let's go ahead and wipe it down. Get this little cloth this time, a little microfiber cloth. And ooh, we'll show you. What's great is you can already see it fills near this nice ink window. Yeah, so I'm trying to tilt it. So it's definitely full. If I go the other way, does it go back a little bit? Let's see. I can't quite tell. I mean, it's probably, there it goes. It's washed out a little bit. So you know that it'll be a little bit inky, but it won't be this nice dark fill that you have when it's writing tip side down. So you really kind of get a sense of that. Once that really starts to clear up, you'll have your ink view. Let's go ahead and get that going. There we go. So honestly, there's not going to be much to say. I couldn't really find anything about this, so we'll say the Majestic pen company. And if you Google Majestic pen company, apparently there are some kit pens or something that's called Majestic right now that people seem to like, and you can kind of put them together. But outside of that, probably the best you're going to do is find that this is a company from the 30s to the 40s. It's disappearing sometime in the 40s, and it was originally the J. Harris and Company out of New York. They are a third tier company, meaning that, you know, the parts are cheaper, a little more flimsy. So if I were to equate it like Majestic, Arnold, that one jumps to mind, Wherever, third tier. And then you're going to say, well, Parker, Schaefer, Eversharp, those are first tier. What's a second tier? What's in between? So I would almost dare to say that maybe second tiers would probably be something like, uh-oh, am I not focusing now? Okay, let's see if it'll do it. Something like, you know, a sub-brand. And here we might have Wasp. We might have something like Parker Challenger. You know, they're not exactly, this is not exactly a sub-brand, but there's definitely makes or models of a company that are lower tier than their, you know, duo folds or their vacuum fillers or anything like that. So like a Challenger, a Parquet, the Schaefer Wasp, even though these are pretty solid quality, but you know, nibs are a little thinner, plating's a little bit cheaper, so probably second tier. Who else would I think about? Can I think of one for Eversharp? Oh, like probably like the Wall Oxford for like the Eversharp company, right? So there, that's what I think of as second tier. And then you get down to third tier. Oh, and actually, maybe, I guess it would depend, but then you have the department store brands, maybe, where you're getting things like Gold Bond. I think Gold Medal comes to mind. I'll maybe even throw in some of the Rexall brands that I saw, like the Belmont, and this one maybe it's third tier. I'm not entirely sure, but Belmont. I just did this a few weeks ago. I've already forgotten what these Rexall sub-brands are, but things like that might be, I'd say second tier, because they're often made by well-known brands, just a step down from their own line, right? So you can have a Gold Bond or Gold Medal that looks similar to maybe just I don't even know what to compare it to, like just classic standard lever fillers, the Rexal's. I should have thought this part through because I just had this brainstorm. But I know there was like a Doric made for some department store that had all the little facets, but it wasn't an Eversharp brand. It was made by them, but they made it Doric-like for the department store. So I'm gonna say that would probably be the second tier. And then third tier, I would definitely say Arnold, Wherever, clearly Majestic. Dare I say maybe Morrison. They probably go back and forth, second to third tier, because there's kind of some that feel actually pretty decent, some that feel pretty darn cheap. So I might put Morrison in a little bit of a quasi state, and I'm sure we could have fun in the comment section to kind of describing who are second tiers, who are third tiers, and there might be some that kind of waffle in between. And of course you can probably say as you get later in the lines, you might even throw like an Eversharp model down here, like not Eversharp, but like Conklin kind of got to the gliders, and they were like, yeah, those are subpar, second tier at best, but probably third tier. So it'd be fun to see if we could negotiate who's second and who's third tier outside of like the big five and their major stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and flip the paper and just talk about this one writing. And I think I got lucky because when I did see some of these Majestic pens, probably most of them had steel nibs. This is probably a better model, closer to their second tier design in terms of like quality, even though simple celluloid, cheap little stamped out clip. This is a two-piece section. I mean, it's clear, but it's probably a little bit better than like a painted section with a unpainted area. But this one has a gold nib, so this is probably a better version of their pens in general. So I think I got lucky with this one, so it'll probably be a better writing experience. So if I just write, oops, too fast. Double check where my screen is. There you go. And I'm writing pretty sloppy right now. Jumps over the lazy dog. Okay, not bad. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. There we go. Feels pretty good. I mean, this is solidly a fine line. It's pretty smooth. I did check it out under the loop, so I feel pretty good about the tuning of this nib. There we go. It's pretty dry. It's nice. I mean, the tine spacing is pretty tight, very slender. And if I held this up to the light, I'd probably see the smallest sliver of light come through. So they're pretty tight overall. It's got a little bit of flex to it. That's actually pretty surprising, but gold nib, warranted. I think I've been pleasantly surprised by warranted nibs often. One little thing I found is, I used to get bummed out that, I got a warranted nib, but it's not a branded nib, like somehow it's going to be inferior. But you can actually find some surprisingly fun nibs that are warranted, and I should look into the history of what warranted exactly means, because I thought it just meant like it's a standardized nib that contains X amount of gold and there's a quality standard to it. But I think I've also seen some nibs that are steel nibs but gold plated and also called warranted. So I got a little bit confused and uncertain about what I thought warranted meant. So maybe I should do a little video on that. But for the collector, don't necessarily be discouraged by a warranted nib. They can actually be some of your better, more fun nibs, and they can free you up if you can find a pen that'll take a warranted nib. If you just need a replacement nib, it could rejuvenate a pen and actually make it quite fun. So don't worry about them too much. But this surprisingly flexy. It doesn't really feel maybe it is. Like, I'm putting moderate pressure to get that. So it's not a flexy nib, but it's definitely something that you can play with, and it'll be quite forgiving with the pressure that you give it. Just natural pressure, me doing a little bit more extra to it, so a little more of a fun nib than I thought I was going to get. So happily surprised with that. Let's do the quick write test. Wouldn't be surprised if I got a couple little skips here or there, or rough starts, because it is a little tighter spaced, and it is on the drier side as we saw, and it's actually keeping up pretty well. A little bit like probably a little bit positional, kind of how I roll the nib, but overall this nib is actually doing quite well. What else do I have? I can do my reverse writing. That's actually pretty smooth, but it doesn't actually take it down too much. That looks just about the same. Maybe the hair is a bit smaller, but that's about the same. So this is a nib where, yeah, these are no pressure back to front, where really you're not getting any real change from writing reverse or regular, except with the reverse you can't press and get the nice little line variation. So actually, I think this may be the first pen where I've seen the reverse be the same as the regular, so that's kind of fun. All right, so what do I think? I guess I can do, if I have it handy, oh, there it is. I can do some measurements real quick and just talk about that, but overall, I'll spoil the ending. I'm actually really happy with this pen. I think it's quite attractive. I think it looks classy. I like the little Deco band, even though it's a little bit loose. The Majestic clip. I think the silver works well with this gray, and I don't really have too many pens like that. But anyway, let me go ahead and do some measurements, and I'll talk about my final thoughts. But here we go. Capped is 5 and like 3/16, just over 5 1/8. We're gonna go uncapped. Tip of nib is about 4 and 6/8, maybe just shy of 4 and 6/8. We'll do the functional part from section to tip is, I'll say 4 inches. And 4 inches to me is pretty good. You get to the crook of your hand unless you got a giant hand. This is probably going to fit most people. And this thing probably does post. Let's see. Not super deeply, but deeply enough. And when you get down there, it definitely gets tight. It's secure. I can do it the other way as well. And I bet it's going to be pretty light. Yeah, with just that little bit of a clip, I barely feel it. So postable. And just for kicks, since we've got it, might as well use it. The functional is about 5 and 5/8 from the section to the tip here, and from the nib to the tip would be about 6.5. So extends it a decent bit. But this is, again, this is a pen I don't think I would need to post. You could if you wanted to, and there we have it. So overall, this might be one of the best third tier pens I think I've gotten. Like the celluloid is actually really pretty. This nice tortoise shell, or at least that's what I thought it was called. It's nice striped. It matches various other types of pens. You know, it's like the glider, and there's a few other types of pens I've had that kind of have this little laminate, but longitudinally laminate look to it. It's got some nice pearlescence to it, so visually it's attractive. I actually like the reverse trim or the silver trim of this. Majestic has a nice name to it. This is a classic cigar type pen where it's rounded at both ends. It's very evenly made. I don't have any shrinkage really. There's the smallest bit of lever box spread right there, but when I hold it, it's a good size, not too thin, not super thick, just kind of probably average-ish for pens back then. I've got an ink view, I've got a gold nib, and I've got a gold nib that gives me a little bit of bouncy flexiness that I can play with. So overall, this one's a keeper. I like this pen a lot. I think this would have been a good solid pen to have gotten, be it a third tier pen. I think it still would have been something to be proud of, and clearly it's lasted. You know, I don't know what conditions helped this one to be this good for this long, because you know you're gonna find them and they'll be a little bit warped, a little more lever box spread. I got lucky in that this one did not really have much surface wear, so it polished up super easily. Even Mr. Slater, his imprint, not really worn. And I did fill this in with my China marker, so it is popping a little bit more. And super happy with the nib. So yeah, I like this. This example of a Majestic pen is really great. So if I happen to stumble upon some more, or am able to find maybe some more examples that I have in the stupidly large stash that I have, I should bring it out and see how they compare to this guy. But right now, would recommend. So let me go ahead and finish that, and I'll reach into my drawer right here, do a little bit of rummaging, and see which one we're going to do next. What did I pull out? Okay. We're going to go back to an oldie but goodie. This is a Parker Duo Fold. It's a senior. This is the jade green, and we have a little difference in oxidation. We've got this lightish cap, darkish barrel. It's got some imprints on it. We have a nib that has a little bit of a, almost seems like a crease right there. Let's see if I can show you. We'll see what that means for us, but it looks like it's in alignment. And I do remember having this one out, so I'm going to show you why I think it's going to be exciting. This is a dual fold that has some flexibility to it. So let's go ahead and do this one for next time. It should be a fairly straightforward job. We've done the dual fold junior. This was not really any different, but I did get a question on that actual dual fold, and they were asking about, you know, how do you get the max fill out of these things, so we could address that. But let's look forward to a nice jade green dual fold, senior I'll call it, and we'll dig into that one. So I will see you soon. I'll get this one up in about a couple weeks, and then we'll be a little bit on a roll since I'm kind of getting ahead. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Majestic, fantastic Parker Duo Fold next time.